So here is my take about Pokemon Pocket. So for those of you who don't know about Pokemon Pocket, it is essentially the new mobile TCG that Pokemon has released, where it's basically a bite-sized version of the Pokemon TCG, right? So the big question that I feel like a lot of people are asking when they see this is, are we looking at the new Pokemon Go, right? So Pokemon Go brought a lot of fans back into the genre. So when Pokemon Go first released, there was a lot of really noteworthy sales that were happening with the cards, because people would come back, they'd say, hey, I want my childhood collection back, let me go buy Charizard, let me go buy Venusaur, let me go buy whatever. It was very popular. It was a big boom for the Pokemon TCG market. It's a huge opportunity for Pokemon to get more people invested into the TCG. So one of the cool things about this that I personally liked was the fact that you can open your own packs on the actual interface itself, right? So it's like, hey, here I am riding the bus, let me open up some packs while I'm commuting. Oh, I got a Mewtwo, like in this one, I got a Mewtwo EX. I got a Aerodactyl, right? You can have the thrill of opening packs, playing the game without having to take the time out of your day to go to an LGS or anything like that. So there have definitely been some people, in the Yu-Gi-Oh space, in the Marvel Snap space, that have been talking, and it just boils down to availability and ease of use, right? Because here I am, like, working, let's say, for example, I'm a regular Joe who works a 9 to 5 that just simply doesn't have time to go to a local game store to play Pokemon. I really love Pokemon. So the regular Joe, right, on the bus, like, man, I wish I could just go into tournaments, but, I have to spend a half an hour to get my decks ready, my backpack ready. I have to commute a half an hour to my local game store. And it's just a lot of time, right? Versus if you have a watered down version, it allows that same person to say, hey, my commute's a half an hour on the bus. Let me play a few games on my Pokemon Pocket. Let me open up a few packs. And it allows them to get that satisfaction of that local game store, but in a watered down version that's more easily accessible, right? Which is super important for the longevity of Pokemon as a whole, because everything is getting so much more expensive. Things are getting much harder to access, and it just allows more opportunities for folks to access this stuff. And you can kind of see, right? Like, so for example, the trophy Kangaskong that I was talking about in the beginning of the stream, this is an artwork in the Pokemon Pocket, right? So you could open this pack and be like, wow, like this card is insanely expensive. I opened it on my app, right? So it kind of also goes back to, which is kind of a funny topic to talk about, where in like 2020, 2021, I know a lot of people are going to cringe when I say this, but the conversation about the Bored Apes, right? The NFTs, right? NFTs. We've all been sick and tired of talking about NFTs, and I am right there with you. However, this is probably one of the few instances where if you can open up packs and have these cards in your collection, and Pokemon Pocket allows you to actually trade these cards with your friends, is a huge opportunity for kind of like that quote unquote NFT promise to be introduced into Pokemon Pocket, right? So like, for example, let's say that there's a really rare card that you can open up in Pokemon Pocket. It's like, hey, if you can prove that you opened up this card or whatever, you can actually get a physical card mailed to you at no cost, right? Again, that could also be a way to solve the problem of like the Pikachu with gray felt hat that I talked about last week. If you could open up that Pikachu with gray felt hat in the game, that would be a way to almost like get a ticket to get a real copy mailed to you, right? Which would be a really interesting opportunity to explore for Pokemon. But that's just another example, right? So here are some of the exclusive arts, right? So here's the Lapras that I, for whatever reason, can't expand. But you can kind of see this is a Lapras that's exclusive to Pokemon Pocket. This is a Meowth that's exclusive. There we go. The Meowth is exclusive. Look how cool that artwork looks, right? So this is exclusive to the Pokemon Pocket that you can't get into a physical card as of yet. But again, this exclusive, the exclusiveness of these cards, the accessibility of the TCG ultimately leads to more people coming to Pokemon, which in turn makes it way better for us as physical collectors in the long run. For those of you who are trying to invest or buy cards to invest in the long term, this is a really good opportunity to jump onto. So again, going back to, is this the next Pokemon Go in the sense of, will this bring more eyeballs to the TCG? And my answer, in my opinion, is yes. It will ultimately bring more eyes to the space. But the question is, okay, what's gonna sell if more people are coming back, right? So you got to think, who is this really catered to? Again, this is catered to the people who either A, do not have access to an LGS, B, have access to an LGS, but it's so far away. For example, for me, my closest one is an hour away, right? My closest game store would be an hour away. Or C, just don't have an LGS altogether, essentially, meaning like it's greater than 2 hours away, right? This is the solution to that problem, as well as games like Marvel Snap or Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links only last 5 minutes at a time. And so for an era where time is super valuable and things are super expensive, this allows, if you want to buy a pack for $1, I don't know how much it is. It's probably like going to be 99 cents would be my guess or whatever. It allows people to say, hey, it'd be fun to play Pokemon again as like a watered down version. Sure, why not? I haven't played the TCG in a minute, or I've never played it. Let's just I have 15 minutes. Let me just play Pokemon on my phone on my commute to work. I think it's a super cool idea. So, some sets that might be good for this. Again, this is not financial advice at all. I want to preface that immediately. But, for people who are coming back into this and seeing cards like Meowth and the Lapras, it kind of boils down to, okay, what are some cool sets that I can buy that are as easily accessible as Pokemon Pocket? And I'd probably say like 151 would probably be a really good one. Celebrations, maybe, but I'd say more of 151, just because it has that full Gen 1. The whole set's just based off Gen 1, so it kind of has that nostalgia to it. So that is kind of my overall opinion. And look at this surfing Pikachu in the background. I literally just noticed that just now. Look at that. The Lapras hanging out. It almost looks like that old school watercolor vibe, and you got the Pikachu just chilling. But let me just look at chat to see what you guys' opinion on this as well. Let's see. What's some of these cards? Yeah, so I bet Civic, honestly, I feel like some of them might not, only because it will drive people to go to the Pokemon Pocket, right? So this Lapras, for example, I would argue that this will never be printed as a physical card, only because it will drive people to the app, would be my guess. Yeah, Ginger, I'm right there with you. I haven't played the Pokemon TCG since I was honestly in middle school, to be completely honest with you. And I think having an option to where it's I could relearn Pokemon in a way that's not dominated by a meta that I don't understand would make it way more enjoyable for me to play, right? Because there's obviously a bunch of card metas that I don't understand because I've never played the game before, that I would just get absolutely destroyed. But in Pokemon Pocket, since the format is much different, it allows more rogue decks to be more viable, which in turn makes it easier for me as a new player to learn, pick up the game, and be more invested in Pokemon in the long term. So yeah, I'm right there with you, Pokemon, or Poke. Brock, I don't think so. I don't think it's been officially announced yet. So again, this article, without making you guys squint your eyes, this is on pokebeach.com. I don't think it's released yet. Let me check, because it was announced in Pokemon Day, but I don't think it's released yet, and I don't know when it will be. Let me take a look here on the top. It just says will be released sometime in 2024. So I'd probably imagine in the summer would be my guess.